But yeah, Ashley and Derek had some scenes too. They didn't bother me today, which is a first, I think. But I'm hoping they're still not thinking about going that direction to Ashley and Derek again. I hope that ship is sailed. I hope Ashley doesn't become jealous if Derek moves on with his mamacita. Hello, hello, fellow Beyond the Gates fans. Here to talk about today's Wednesday episode from December 10th, 2025. Vast improvement over yesterday's episode. In fact, I very much enjoyed today's episode overall. Not even Ashley and Derek annoyed me. I did get a little annoyed at the end, but we'll get to that, I guess. Let's start with where we left off on yesterday's episode, which was Bill collapsing onto the ground with Hayley there. Hayley freaking out because suddenly it's too soon for Bill to die, even though she was getting upset that it was taking too long. And her first instinct is to call her dumb cousin Randy to tell him what happened. And yeah, she was just basically freaking out, admitted to Randy that she gave Bill more poison tea than usual, and she was frustrated and said she will figure it out because Randy wasn't helping her in that moment. So Hayley tried to shake Bill, ended up slapping him awake, which I would think Bill might find that extreme. Why are you slapping me awake instead of calling an ambulance or something after I had a stroke not that long ago? But Bill came to, didn't remember what happened. At first, she wants to get him to the hospital, but then instead gets him some food. And it was in that moment where she went to go get some food that Bill was eyeing the teacup. I don't know if that was the show trying to show us that Bill might finally be thinking and he might have gotten his brain back and he is suspicious of the tea, or if that was just kind of a little tease for before a commercial or something, because it was right before a commercial. My favorite scene of the whole episode, and there was actually a lot of scenes I liked today, but it was when Hayley came back with food and orange juice and told Bill, what if you had a stroke again? Imagine my life without you. And while she said that, she was trying not to smile. That cracked me up. By the end of the episode, Hayley doesn't want Bill to go to the hospital and have more scans and tests, especially since today he got a clean bill of health from Madison at the hospital after some tests. And she was trying to use Bill's own words against him, saying that he was fine earlier. So by the end of the episode, it does seem as though Bill is still not getting his brain back. And he is still going to be dumb, because I would want to go to the hospital after I just collapsed out of nowhere, no matter if I just got a clean bill of health or not. So I do feel like this whole little pass out from Bill was kind of a fake out for us. They kind of just threw us a bone to give us some drama, especially after the show's been kind of dramaless for the past several weeks. But I still enjoyed the episodes between Bill and Hayley today. I just hope that at some point Bill gets a brain where Hayley is involved in his life. Let's actually move on to Shanice today. Ashley came to work happy. She clearly enjoyed Winterfest. Shanice was asking about Winterfest, giving her some crap about being at the same party as Andre. Ted ended up overhearing them, well, mostly overhearing Shanice telling Ashley it must be hard to get over a hot Richardson. And Ted tried to play it smooth like they were talking about him and not Andre. Ted then went on to say he thought Shanice was telling Ashley about their elevator adventure. Shanice did not let Ted tell Ashley about her fear of birds. She played it off as burglars. I liked their scenes today. They were cute. I'm starting to feel a little something for Shanice and Ted. I do think it can grow on me. But I honestly think that the actress is just great. You know, Amber Michelle, who plays Eva, Colby Muhammad, who plays Kat, obviously Carla Mosley, that plays Dani. They're definitely my favorite actresses on a show, with a lot of great actresses, in my opinion. But Shanice doesn't get her credit. Ernestine Johnson, who plays Shanice, she's similar to Amber Michelle to me. She has chemistry with everyone, because Derek came over today on his one crutch, which turned out to not be a crutch at all. It turned out to be a hockey stick. Derek, they just love to write Derek as some wannabe macho man, some average dumb guy. That's how they write Derek for sure. But I have to say, I enjoyed Shanice berating him. I don't know if they were once again teasing Shanice and Derek because he almost fell with his one hockey stick as a crutch when she was berating him for not having his walker, and she had to hold him up. I do feel like the ship has sailed on those two being a potential couple. They have had chemistry, though. And I still think they have more chemistry than Shanice and Ted. But Shanice and Ted are growing on me. But I think it just must be the actress. I think she is good at getting chemistry out of some actors who have been chemistry-less with other people. And I think both Ted and Derek have had those problems. And then Randy came to the hospital looking for a friend who collapsed because Hayley just hung up on him and he didn't know what was going on and if Bill had really collapsed. And I felt a spark with them too. I was like, oh, okay, the way Shanice and Randy are looking at each other was actually maybe a potential thing too. Shanice has a lot of potential as a character as it is, and I think she has a lot of potential for whatever couple they decide to put her in. Good for her. I hope that in 2026, Shanice does grow as a character on this show and becomes a more main character and not just a side character, because Ernestine Johnson, she's doing a wonderful job at getting chemistry out of these people. But yeah, Ashley and Derek had some scenes too. They didn't bother me today, which is a first, I think. But I'm hoping they're still not thinking about going that direction to Ashley and Derek again. I hope that ship is sailed. I hope Ashley doesn't become jealous if Derek moves on with his mamacita, who is his co-worker. Hopefully that is not the case, because that will piss me off. If they still have Ashley and Derek in the same orbit, it's not working. Let's move on, please. Now, while Ted and Shanice were starting to show me more chemistry, Kial and Nicole are definitely doing it for me as well. Kial visited Nicole with some flowers today. He ended up giving her a neck and shoulder rub because he is a surgeon of some kind, and I guess he's also good at just making the body feel better. So good on Kial, very smooth there. Nicole very much enjoyed the massage and said that since she put her neck in his hands, she wants him to put his psyche in her hands, her being a psychiatrist and all, or therapist, whatever the hell she is. We didn't really find out that much. I mean, the big thing we found out is that his wife passed away years ago. He moves around from place to place as a traveling surgeon because he likes it, because no place has felt like home since his wife died, which was kind of a cheesy line, but it still worked for me. She was still trying to decide if she wants to go on a second date with him, but he weaseled his way in there. And Nicole was asking what adventures she can expect on their second date, which makes me think Nicole is actually excited about this for a person who's been not ready to move on after her divorce. And then later, Ted has to witness Kial kissing Nicole on the cheek. He wants Nicole to be happy, but obviously he does have a hard time seeing his ex-wife already moving on with someone else too. So they're doing good with this, moving Ted on, moving Nicole on. It's new energy. And the biggest thing for me is some actual potential romance and chemistry on this show. I've been begging for this the entire year. Soap operas were quite literally built on romance. And so I would like the show to figure that out. And this is the best step in the right direction they've taken so far in the series history. Let's move on to Dani and Kat. Kat's upset about the whole Tomas situation. Tomas wanting her to move in and she's not ready. It was good to see Kat and Dani have some scenes, because I feel like if anyone in the family does understand Kat, it is actually Dani. They do have a lot of similarities. They're both very stubborn. They both hold grudges. And they kind of talked about that today. This was some of the only stuff that bothered me, though, because Kat thinks she is the problem between her and Tomas, saying he always shows up for her. But, like, how are we skipping past the fact that he slept with Eva? Like, how does Kat in her mind just shove that aside? And I guess maybe the show is trying to chalk this up to her inexperience just all around. She was not only a virgin, but I think just more inexperienced with relationships in general. It's very realistic, I guess. I just wish, it would just work so much better if Kat and Tomas actually had chemistry. Dani was trying to get Kat to learn from her mistakes when she was younger, to get Kat to realize that she's more than enough on her own. She doesn't need to feel like she's not enough for Tomas. Dani did learn that Kat forgave Tomas for sleeping with Eva. And Kat doesn't seem to think Tomas will stray again, even though he's given her no real proof of that. Kat says the deal breaker right now for her and Tomas is that she allowed herself to fall for Tomas, and she is afraid something will come along and take him away. And when I heard that line, my fingers were so tightly crossed that this was the show possibly alluding to the fact that they might kill Tomas's ass off. Because if that's what Kat's going to be worried about in their relationship, and Kat does have to deal with Tomas dying, it's going to be a great day. I swear, if this show kills Tomas off, it will be my favorite episode that the show has done. I can guarantee you that right now, because he's one of the worst things about the show. So I'm hoping that's what that line was thrown in for, but I'm probably reading into it too much, unfortunately. Dani understands what Kat went through with Tomas sleeping with Eva, of all people, and understands why Kat hates Eva because of what Eva and her mother did to her family. Dani said it must have taken Kat a lot of work for Kat to forgive Tomas, but we didn't see any of that work. So maybe Kat is just in delusions about that. Dani tells Kat if Tomas ever does anything like that again, it's game over for him. She did threaten Tomas once. That I remember that, which is why Dani is a good ally in the family for Kat. Dani did ask Kat, however, if she forgave Tomas, will she do the same to Eva? Kat went off on one of her tirades, one of her rants. Dani even had to remark that she thought she could hold a grudge. But Kat did bring up the good point that what are the chances that Dani will forgive Hayley? Although Dani and Hayley have no relation whatsoever. But I still don't think that Kat needs to forgive Eva at all. But I need to move on from this rivalry. Some people still think it's like the greatest rivalry on the soap, but I just don't see it. It's too redundant. And it's Kat's like only real story, and that's a problem. So that's my biggest issue with the Kat and Eva feud now, is that it's Kat's only story, and she just comes across as way too obsessed about it. But so that was kind of like the only weak part to me, is having to hear Kat go on a rant again today. The only other thing that really happened was Samantha and Tyrell. They really have Samantha researching her help for the unhoused. They have taken Samantha in a way that they want her to be a do-gooder, and maybe this is their way of making Samantha want to get into politics one day like her father Martin, maybe. But the big surprise that Smitty and Martin had for her today was that she gets her phone back. She now has a trust of confidence again with her father's. So good for Samantha. She has been trying to change for the better these past few weeks, although I was enjoying them trying to slowly turn Samantha into kind of a bad girl, and I wouldn't mind if they still go there. Later, Ted and Martin talked about how, well, Ted mostly, he can't understand why Kat and Eva can't get along, even though they're sisters. Martin had to point out that they didn't grow up together, which just further proves that Ted's slow, if Ted didn't really think about this. And then Martin called his campaign manager saying he wants to have more family time during this campaign. So that was the show as a whole. I don't think I forgot anything in my notes that I wanted to talk about. Hope I didn't anyway. I enjoyed today's episode. There was a lot of good scenes and some sparks, some chemistry, some potential real romance on this show. I can't ask for more than that. So some steps in the right direction today for me personally, because I've been wanting chemistry and I got that today. And Shanice is a character that has options.